So I've just got off the phone with George, where I've suggested the idea if him and I could work together for our Ableton live sets. I explained to him that I needed help with the parts of the live set, as the things that I want to do, launching the scenes, controlling the clips, doing all the drops, as well as doing the auto mapping controls, and changing stuff. It's difficult because I'd have to split my mind into two, and I've only got 2 pairs of hands, and it's been doing quite difficult to just do one part of that with one set of hands. So I thought I'd ask George, as a trustworthy and like-minded individual, if he'd like to help me with my set, which would then obviously become our set. He said he was more than happy to do that, and he said he would like a preference of the auto map controlling, because I hadn't really touched onto that much. I obviously had a go of auto mapping the 303 style bass, but other than that I haven't really made any other maps. So he was like, oh, I'd like to do that instead of yourself, and I was like, that's fine. And he had a few suggestions to come forward as well, which is quite helpful, because the second we started talking about it, getting ideas, I was already liking the sound of the ideas. There wasn't any resistance of ideas or clashes of ideas. So for example, he suggested we should use a phaser on the hats and stick it on an auto map, auto mapping the dry and wet, and then use that to as a build up, because when we had to listen to it, it was a good way of building up without anything else playing, because it just created this newer sound that progresses. And as well as that, the reverb map, we mapped that next to the phaser, just as a way to create a wider open space. Again, good for building or creating a new section overall. And then as well as this, he said the vocals needed a delay that we should map, because then it gives us the power to again create a larger space, either building up or maybe even for the ending of the track, just have the vocal sample playing, with a delay or something along the lines of that. And as well, obviously the clip I'm using takes the whole first verse of This Is the End by The Doors. And he's like, we should do a shortened version that loops. It just says, "This is the end. This is the end." That's how he said it to me as well. So I'll have to go into Ableton and move the vocals about, and hopefully it'll sit and just loop with that little section. Because obviously copying a sample over, you have to adjust it to the the new set or the new style of track, because the rhythms aren't the same necessarily, or the feel. Upon talking about this, and all these ideas we had, in the back of my mind, I had the idea of maybe adding a second vocal sample in, and I thought, well, now George is here, I thought I'd tell it to him and see what he thought. He thought it was a good idea, but what I wanted to do was I want to take the vocal sample from Kylie Minogue's "Can't Get You Out of My Head," specifically the vocal hook, the la 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 la, that, because that's a key hook and a nostalgic part for listeners, whether it be the children of the people of that era, or even the parents of the people our age, be able to hear that and be like, I know that song. Because for me personally, that song was a key song in growing up. It's what I'd hear in my household, and I can imagine that other people lived that same life, which makes it a good choice for the audience demographic, I'd argue, more so than say the Doors one, to be hypercritical. And as well, maybe if I had the time and it wasn't too tedious, because I've mentioned you have to move the where the vocal sits on Ableton to make it fit. Maybe do the first verse, but obviously the rhythm's very, very different to the trance track, so I'd have to have a play with that and see if it was like too tedious or not. I did worry about it might be a bit hard to do, but I'm going to give it a try and see how that goes. So yeah, that was mine and George's first discussions on how me and him are going to change the set.